Oh my god, the ceiling is falling! And then you wake up. Come to find out, there's not a thing wrong with the market yet. It's remarkable, right? We've been talking and talking and talking about, some of these coins, and people are still selling, they're still buying, collecting is going on. We're here in the new year. It's like, yeah, things got to slow down, right? No, they have not. This market is far from cooked. And what I can tell you right now, if you're not a part of it, and you're sitting there just waiting for that moment while, for things to slow down, you're kind of waiting at the wrong moment. We are in 2025. We are on the cusp of probably one of the biggest anniversaries the hobby is yet to see. 2026, 12 months from now, might I remind you, the 250th anniversary. If you don't think that this year is going to be hyped up, man, you might be in the wrong hobby, the wrong profession. I don't know really what to say. A lot of people are gearing up for an unprecedented banner year of ridiculousness. And I want to see you guys succeed. So today we're going to talk about some of the most relevant errors and varieties. Oh my gosh. Probably highlighting one of the most expensive coins we've ever talked about, not integrated holder today. And it is truly a work of art when you see this thing. Yeah, we've been doing this for a while now. And it's been fun. And it's still fun. It's a never-ending twist. It's like you're waiting for some cracks, the chinks in the armor, and they're just not there. Yeah, get into this right now, guys, while you can. It's amazing. If you're looking to press your current 9 to 5, yeah, now's a good time to sell on eBay. We're gonna do some workshops here over the course of the next, I would say, 2 months to help you guys out. Because it's more than just selling on the platform. I think there's some things that we need to supplement with the eBay to really push it to the next level. And some folks, they don't think about it. Some people just don't want to do it, but yet it might be a necessity. So you'll be seeing these here pretty soon. I would say it's going to start probably next week. All right, so one of the things that I personally do, I sell on this platform, Whatnot, right? Again, this is just adding more tools to your tool chest. You have Whatnot, you have eBay, you sell elsewhere, you sell locally, you sell on Facebook, Marketplace, things like that. You got to utilize all of the different tools. And for the most part, they're all free, right? We used to 30 years ago, back in the 90s, if you had to pay for advertising, it would cost you tens of thousands of dollars. But what's cool today is a lot of that's baked in to the programs and websites that allow you to sell on their platforms. They advertise it for you because obviously they want you to make the most amount of money right now, because if you make the most amount of money, so do they. Whatnot is, they are on the precipice of being one of the most biggest, if not most important, social media live auction sites, bar none. Okay? A lot of the big dogs from like eBay and all that, they're selling on this platform now. There's no better time to jump on. We have a huge launch coming here, I would say next week. That is going to be a game changer for those of you that are already on Whatnot and also are a part of YouTube and the Blue Ridge Silverhound family. I cannot wait to share this with you. It's going to involve 2025 new coins. It's going to involve a tier system for rewards that could possibly go all the way up to 1 ounce of gold. That's right, your boy Blue. And I'm just throwing this out there as a nugget. We are considering giving away a 1 ounce gold round, a gold eagle, a gold maple leaf, whatever it is. It's exciting. This is exciting. I can't wait to share this news with you next week. So if you haven't signed up already, what are you waiting for? Whip out that phone. There's a QR code right there on the bottom left corner. You sign up under me, I'll give you $15 off your first item. Not to mention that we do live shows every Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's just going to get more nuttier. We are preparing for one of the biggest events that Blue Ridge Silverhound and the platform Whatnot have collaborated on. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're going to jump right in. From top to bottom, you are going to want to pay close attention because we're seeing small coins sell. We're seeing these big ass coins sell. 2013 P Jefferson nickel doesn't look like a whole lot here happening. It looks like a coin popped right out of change. However, this particular person sold this coin for $4, and no, they weren't juking anybody here. This is an actual legitimate mid-air. And it would take an eagle-eyed individual ready with their jeweler's loop to be able to find a little piece of treasure like this. Can you imagine finding a nickel for 5 cents, turning it around and selling it for many times more than face value? This is one of those coins. Now, $4 is $4. By the time you ship this thing out, you're going to profit about $2.50. And that's after they take out the fees and shipping fees and all that stuff. It's still a very reasonable amount of money. And this is what I consider to be like a supplemental necessity. You need to add these as a buy it now to your store to help complement all the other things that you sell, right? You're not going to constantly continue to step over the $100 bill to reach the dollar bill, right? It's the other way around. And how that's going to happen is going to be the collaborative efforts of all the coins that you list on your eBay store. This one right here is like that, right? You can just easily go into a bankroll of nickels and find this in there. What is it? Quit jaw-jacking, Sean. It's a tiny, stupid little die chip. They call these beehive die chips, by the way. They come in all different shapes and sizes and forms, and it usually is stuck to at one point or feature of Monticello or Monticello. And it's very common. These are very common things. Die chip happens when a piece of the die breaks after just massive wear and tear. Little pieces, they begin to fall and little bits and pieces fall off the die. And then when they go to strike up coins, where that little piece was on the die wound up being this raised blob, rocky looking thing. $4 for this thing. Now, unless you have like 2010 vision or some like Superman human powers, obviously you're going to need some sort of magnifying device to look at these. Me personally, wherever I go, if I know I'm going to the bank or I'm going to a coin shop, I always carry at the very minimum a 10 times power magnifier, and so should you guys. Guess what? If you don't have one, we're going to be giving some of these tools away here very soon on some of these future shows on Whatnot. So, and you can look for things like this. Turn 5 cents into $4. Can you imagine doing that each and every single time? You're going to look like a savant to a lot of people that otherwise didn't really give you a whole lot of chance at being successful. Here's again another one, 2018 P from the same seller. This person, in a matter of moments, sold 2 of their coins with a total combined face value of 10 cents for $8. This is the second one they had sold for $4. Again, it's not really all that impressive. The front of the coin's got some pretty heavy nicks and contact marks. Same with the reverse. It's not the prettiest of coins. We've all seen better, right? That's what you're looking for right there. That's the beginning stages of one of those beehive die chips. Gotta love wear and tear, right? It's like an automobile. Those things fall apart the more and more you use them. The same way that the mint presses, continuously hammer out tens of thousands, if not millions of strikes. Things are going to get loose. They're going to break and fall apart. And they create some pretty amazing results on our coinage. We are not that far advanced in technology. We're still, using a lot of human intervention to produce our coins to great effect, to have some of these little minor, these are considered minor mint errors, but still very relevant because there are collectors of these. The collectors that want these, they're on a budget. They're not out there to spend $25 to $100 per coin. Maybe they could only afford up to $5 a coin. Maybe they can only afford up to a $10, $20 budget at any given week. So we have to cater to the folks with lower budgets and the ones with much more bigger, richer budgets. And how are we going to do that? By variety. Putting up the most amount of coins at varying price levels and appealing to everybody and not just one demographic, Don't pigeonhole yourself like that. Here's a couple more right here. Very commonly overlooked, by the way. 1993 Lincoln Memorial cent. It has been around the block, This is far from the perfect coin. It's it's obviously that this thing has circulated to a certain degree. But another thing that ended up selling for $5, perspective-wise, that's 500 times face value. Can you imagine just a random stranger coming up to you and you see that same random stranger each day, once per day, and their question to you is, sir or ma'am, hey, if you have a penny, I'll trade it for a $5 bill. And they do this constantly, once per day. They come up to you at some random interval of the day. It's strange and weird and kind of like sci-fi, I know. But that's very similar to what we have here, ladies and gentlemen. This one has, by the way, the spiked head die crack. A die crack that goes from the rim. Usually it goes through one of the letters in the word we, and then snakes its way into Lincoln's head. And you can find these on virtually any date, going all the way up into the 2020s. So this is still a very common event. And if we think about it, this is a weak area on the die. There's a lot of devices right here, a lot of wear and tear, a lot of stress fractures are very common on this part of the die. $5 for this thing, right? There's a bunch of them out there. Here's another one right here. Guess what? A much newer date, 2015 Shield set. Check that out. There's another spiked head die crack is what we call it in the industry and the hobby. Another $5 sale. I believe this is from the same seller. But you guys get the big picture? I'm probably hammering it home and probably talking a little bit excessively over the first 4 coins, but I want you guys to realize that the minor stuff has a market today because these 4 coins sold all together. I don't know if it's from the same buyer or a couple different people, but they all sold within like an hour, And I'm willing to bet they're probably looking for more because of the price point. It's attractive to collectors that have a lower budget. And it also means a lot when things like this are attributed on websites like cudsoncoins.com, which further amplifies its desirability. Are these things going to stay $5 forever? More and more people are coming to collecting these. We're going to see less supply, more demand. And that's going to, in turn, change the value of these coins. Why not get on the ground floor right now while you're able to still get Lincoln cents from the bank and then just pop them on there, to add in with all your other stuff. All right, probably stuff that isn't searchable by any means in change. Although this one, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's circulated, but it certainly was not kept in the most ideal of conditions. It's a saddle struck or a double struck, kind of similar. Saddle struck Jefferson nickel, probably a good fairly old one, probably from the 70s if I had to guess. So you have one larger strike that's off center and a secondary one that's like 95% off center. This is quite a rarity, especially on nickels and higher denominations. This one sold for $46.58 with 3 bids. Now, there is an opportunity to find something like this, and the condition will throw a lot of people off, even dealers, to the point where, dealers don't like mint errors because it doesn't sell as quickly to their liking. They want type coins and silver and things that are easy to move, right? What we call turn and burn inventory. Mint errors are not like that from the dealer point of view. But however, on eBay, when you have thousands of people that collect into this genre of numismatics, that really opens up the world. So you buy something like this, they have it marked down to like 15 to 25 bucks in their overstock bin. And you're like, yeah, I'll take this. Hey, can you do a better deal? They might even say, yeah, I'll take 15 for it. And you turn around, flip it, and make $30 profit. I mean, you know, that's a game changer right there. If you have that mentality and the wherewithal to be able to negotiate with your dealer, because you can. The worst they could say is no, that's what I have into it. And at that point, they're being very forthcoming, because if there was any room, they would certainly work with you on that. Next one that we have here, boy, what we got coming up here? We got the 250th anniversary. But let's not forget, the bicentennial 200th anniversary was the big deal, and it still is today. Any mint error on any one of the bicentennial coins, whether it's the quarter, half dollar, or dollar, are all pretty significant. They're all highly desirable. This one right here, slightly off center struck, probably even, I would guess, a partial tilted collar as well, and believe it or not, this particular coin right here was originally in an annex holder. And, you know, we don't normally talk about graded coins here, but the reason why, and this was in the description of this listing, that the person ended up cracking it out of the annex slab, and there you go. Actually, I didn't put it on there, but it says tilted collar error. The reason why was he or she felt like that this one would have graded higher, but they never bothered to send it back into either Annex or any one of their other grading services. They just got to a point where like, okay, I have this, I'm just going to go ahead and sell it. Okay, so they originally paid like 130, 140 bucks for the thing. And as a seller, they ended up taking a big L. But this is such a great mint error because of the coin it's on, that it still has some value. It ended up selling on eBay for $78. So one man lost out, another person gained. But if they didn't know that it was a cracked out Annex previous slapped coin, you know, $78 would be top of the mark. This is what we call just kind of like a schmedium type of error. It's not super crazy or anything like that, but it's, again, any mint error on a bicentennial coin in any form is better than not having a mint error on there. 1982p, okay, one I like to talk about because it's a coin that a lot of people kind of like sift through when they're roll hunting half dollars. It's still a sport today to see people go through half dollar rolls in hunting for silver. There is still some silver out there, but, you know, it's becoming less and less found, you know, because everybody's been doing this over the course of the last like 20 years, that, you know, a lot of the silver was pulled out, you know, the ones that have been sitting in OBW rolls and, you know, at the Federal Reserve, they've all been pulled out over the years. This one right here, 1982p, is a cherry picker's guide variety. It's missing the FG initials on the reverse, noted by that red circle. Okay, the circle was supplied by the seller. Good job, by the way. Caused by what is referred to as a over-abraded die or an over-polished die. Frank Gasparo's initials, which is an FG, was polished away in that area where the circle is. So you can kind of tell. There are a few like kind of like tooling file marks coming off of that leg right there, which helps support what's happening here. Again, the coin, that's not the greatest looking. You know, it's definitely been hiding in either a bankroll. It's circulated a little bit. Probably been in and out of the casinos and slot machines over the years. This one sold for $10.88. And for those of you that are looking for the 90% silver halves, guess what? Those are currently at melt right around $10. So, yeah, why would you overlook something like this that it has a value on par to a 90% silver half? Okay, again, think about these things. This one's quite minor. Again, if you have the old eagle eye, you'll know what you have here. 1974 $5 Fed Reserve note with an apparent back to front very light wet ink transfer. You can see some of that green, some of that design from the reverse. That's mirrored as well, which is correct on this one. Yeah, I mean, it's coming to the point where that ink on the impression cylinder is really, really lightening up. And it's not showing up a whole lot more on any subsequent sheets. All right, so the reverse of this note looks perfect. And the note, it's not quite crispy uncirculated, probably more AU. It does have a few little minor folds. This one sold for $61.99 with 34 bids. Very beautiful note. And one that I'm sure can be cherry pickable in dealer stock. Not one that I've seen in quite a while, and it's pretty cool that one did pop up. Most of these generally are in graded holders. 1972D Jefferson nickel with a flip over double strike. Okay, so you can see the secondary strike on the reverse with Jefferson's face right on there indicates that the coin flipped over and then struck another time, but out of collar. The reverse or the front of the coin, where the reverse would be on that secondary strike, is a uniface. It doesn't have any design of the reverse. So this coin was probably overlapping a blank planchet offset, and then both were struck in tandem. Not at all surprised that the sale price, $156.05, was the finale on this one. Makes a lot of sense. I've actually seen these sell for a whole lot more. All right, so someone did get a square deal on it. It's not like a runaway thriller, but you know, it's a good error, and it's one in which that we don't see too often. All right, well, I've always shared and played with you guys. All right, the next innovation in collecting is more hoarding than anything else, and that is brand new sealed inventory of bankrolls and sealed bank boxes. What we're looking at here, ladies and gents, is a $25 face value box of 2023 Philadelphia Lincoln Shield cents. 100 rolls total. Is it 100 rolls? No, 50 rolls. 50 rolls total, $25 face value. All right, so at one point this was acquired at $25 face value from the bank, all right? There is this thing called sealed equity. It's a term that I personally have come up with in the coin hobby. Sealed equity just means that bank-sourced rolls that are OBW, they are retained. Generally, the boxes are not open, and neither are the rolls. You could actually participate in sealed inventory either in a bank box form or sealed rolls. There's no wrong way to do it. You could do either or both. This one right here, you can see the roll enders there, 2023. The idea is you just hold on to these, and they naturally enhance in value. All right, $25 about a year and a half ago. This one sold for $99.99. So it did realize 4 times face only a year and a half later. Wow, that's proof positive right there that I'm not talking out of my ass. I see it all the time. There was a 2009 formative years box that sold earlier in the year, 2024, for like $700-800. Yeah, you heard that right. $25 face value box of LP2, formative year. That's where Lincoln's sitting on a log. 2009 Lincoln cents. A whole box full of them for $700-800. All right. Hold on to them if you got the room. You know, this is kind of like that one of the lesser expensive ways to invest in the hobby if you can't afford, say, stacking silver or gold or things like that. Nice original type piece, 1881, 3-cent nickel. Has a few things going on this one. It's got some die cracks on the reverse. It's got a little bit of die clashing. Apparently it's a repunch date as well, but it's also got a strike through right there next to the word of in US of A. When we look up close to both of them, the 1881, sure, it does have a little bit of a repunch date. It's quite minor. You can see it at the foot of each of the numbers there. The lighting's not typically the best, for this one. You can see some of the die clashing as well of the wreath. But take a look at the bottom right image. Some would say, oh, that's a contact mark. For one, that heavy and deep, you would see the push through of the metal on the reverse. We just didn't see that on this example. And not to mention that the edges are very clean. Usually when a coin takes a hit, there's going to be like a snowdrift buildup of metal around the device that got hit. This one is not. It's just flat all the way around. Pretty cool one here. $45 was the sale price, but the coin was in like much nicer shape anyways. I'm beginning to think that the strike through really did not enhance the value of this one. It's more of like a nicer type piece than it is a mid-air that makes sense, So I figure I'd let you guys know that. On the much older coins and some of the more obscure stuff like 3-cent nickels, 2-cent coppers and things like that, a mid-air doesn't necessarily add the value to the coin. Not the best pictures here. 1970D Washington quarter. This one was actually struck on dime stock, okay, which is dime thickness stock, not necessarily a dime planchet, which is the size of a dime. It's the thickness, okay, and it's all noted by the weakness in the strike, both on the obverse and reverse of this one. Unfortunately, this example has what we call the wheel of death, which are the circular scratches on the front of the coin. It was probably a roll ender at one point, but the crimp machines that seal up the paper rolls made contact with the top of the coin on the ender. All right, so this one right here weighs in at a scant 4.3 grams. The normal weight of a quarter, ladies and gentlemen, is about 5.75 grams. So it's almost a gram and a half light. When you look at the picture on the right, the coin that is being sold is the one on the left. Look how much skinnier it is compared to a standard thickness quarter. Right there on the right. Yeah, a little bit of a difference, absolutely. So this coin right here, okay, underachieving at $29.58, but that valuation right there, taking into account the obverse damage, probably did a number on the secondary market value. Another cool one here too, and I found this actually on a number of different dates. Okay, this just so happens to be on one of the semi-keys, 1924D, Lincoln Wheat cent, with what looks to be die damage on the reverse, like a die dent or something to that effect. So the die, maybe a tool or something hard, had made contact with the die and made a little bit of an impression. So when it goes to strike coins, this is what it's going to look like right here. I even added the arrows for significance. $32 was the sale price on this one, 25 bits. So definitely some interest here, but I have a feeling that the coin probably would have sold close to that because of the date. It's a good date. Another neat one here. We've talked about these, but we have a 1983 P Jefferson nickel that was struck through a very late stage cap die. So there was actually a coin stuck to that obverse die, and it was striking up all these other coins with the coin still stuck to the die. All right, like Play-Doh being stuck to, whatever. So this one right here, obviously that die cap is probably razor thin, like a piece of paper, because, you could see some of the original host design of the die punching through that cap, but it's still pretty weak. $33 was the sale price on this one, and that's par for the course. Usually they're around $30 to $40. We have this 1988 $5 bill with some misprint issues here, some misalignment of the print. You can see actually a little sliver of the secondary note on the subject sheet at the bottom when we look at the reverse. Yeah, a little bit off kilter there. So a pretty neat one here. And, I'm not saying that this is something that we all find and change today because we have these new designed notes. That, since the turn of the century, this one sold for $50.23. 17 total bits. And then check this bad boy out. How often do you get to see an 1873 Indian head set, doubled die obverse, Snow 1 variety in all of its true glory. Now, the coin might have been cleaned. It kind of looks like it's been cleaned. But how often do you see an AU details example where you could really clearly see that crazy doubling in not only the word liberty and the headdress? Take a look at each feather. Each one's doubled crazy. But also take a look at the hair, the ear, the eyeball, the bottom of Lady Liberty's nose, right there, that little real estate space between the nose and top lip. Yeah, it's all doubled. Everything's all crazy. This is like, if this thing was problem free, this would be a 5-figure coin all day long. But somehow we have to settle for this one that probably is not tried and true, 100% original. It's probably, again, I think it's been cleaned. It just has that look. But any event, it's still very expensive. Anytime you could see the details at this level, whether it's cleaned or it has a contact mark or what have you, $5,155.55. 38 total bids, ladies and gents. That's like one of the most expensive raw varieties that I've talked about on the show. I think the only thing that possibly could come close is, well, we've talked about 1955 DDO Lincolns that weren't graded, and they're all tried and true. How about 69S? It seems to me that everybody has graded those because it helps with the secondary market. Pretty neat one here. I don't know if you guys collect into unique silver ingots and pours. This is a nice little state of Nevada shaped pour. It's like a bread loaf. You can actually see the kind of like the subtle mark on the reverse. It's from a company called Metal Rex. All right, this is a Reno, Nevada, 2.46 ounces of 999 fine silver, and it's cool that it's in the shape of the state of Nevada. This is my home state right here. I saw this thing. I'm like, God damn, that is awesome. I wish I could afford something like this because it's bonkers. And then there's the hand stamps on there. It looks like they inadvertently tried tapping in a 3 instead of the 2 on the ounces there. Could be construed as a stamping, misprint or misstamped thing on there. People do pay a little bit more for that. So nearly 2.5 ounces. Get this, $722.95. 19 total bids. For what? All of like $75 in melt value of silver in today's market of $30.08. Vintage, old vintage, just kind of like out there, silver pours are incredibly nuts right now in today's market. If it's never been seen as legitimate, it's going to sell for a boatload of money like this one here. 1980p, Candy half dollar. Again, another sleeper coin because, these are dates and coins that we generally just overlook. Again, this one has a little cut die break. Some of you probably already see it. It's right there at the top of the Y. All right, it's so small. To the untrained eye, or if you're not using your 20/20 vision anyways, this is easy to miss. Okay, this one sold for $19, but it did have some of that Wheel of Death scraping on the obverse of the coin. I don't know if you guys picked that up. Right on top of Kennedy's head right there, which is unfortunate, but, accept it for what it is. And it sold for nearly 290% silver half dollars. So that's kind of like the silver lining here. You could really convert this into some cash. Pretty cool one here. Jeez, I wish I would have seen this. I would have jumped all over it. 1972D Roosevelt dime with the split die break. There on the obverse, that crack that's bisecting that coin. Oh man, these things are awesome. This one here sold for $64.36. I would have jumped all over that at even $100. They are that rare. Yeah, it's a great one here. And by the way, little tip, word of advice: when you're photographing these, take them out of the 2x2 holder. Okay, I know that seems like a huge imposition because it's like, oh, I don't want to ruin a 2x2. 2x2s grow on trees. Okay, you can buy 100 of them for about $1. That's how cheap they are. You shouldn't have to pay no more than 1 or 2 cents a piece for these things. But that's a pretty cool one to see, and on a much older date. Usually we see these from like the 80s and 90s. Another neat one here too. No readable date, but this one is a dual event Washington quarter. It's got a big cut die break right over the date on the front, but as well on the reverse, you see where United is on United States of America. There's also a retain cud, so it's a dual cud coin. $80.50 on this one with 4 bids. Wow. Usually I've seen those sell for about $1 to $1.50. Cool one here, 1977 $10 bill. Probably not cherry pickable in today's change or anywhere like that, but it's got a really cool fold over. So the subject sheet had folded on the corner at one point, and then it was cut subsequently while the fold was still in place. There's a reverse there for you, showing that the reverse did get printed all through its entirety. So between the number 1 print on the reverse and then what occurred on the front, that sheet, probably as a BEP employee was, taking handfuls of these already printed sheets with the reverses on them, probably inadvertently folded one of the corners of a sheet. $83 was their sale price. I've seen these go for a lot more, but this one, this one's probably fair. 2024P. And this one's not here for the major reasons that we have talked about before. The big VDDR, the double to die reverse, number 1. That made waves last year and continued to do so in 2025. If we went back to the first 4 listings of the show about minor die chips and things like that, this is where this one fits in phenomenally. And on a much newer coin, Dr. Mary Edwards Walker is giving you guys every reason to make money here. This one here has a couple of die chips on the metal. If you look at the arrows there's a couple die chips. The die chip, the big one that connects pluribus to the metal, is quite large. And then you have also these little die chips connecting the C to the E to the N and cents right there. $5.69. Again, it's not nothing. That's a profit of about $4 that'll go into the kitty to go along with your $20 sale, your $100 sale, and so on and so forth. It all adds up. Here's another one of those 1970D Washington quarters struck on dime stock. This one looks better, both photographically and coin-wise, because it really does show a lot of the weakness. All right, I think this was Telstar Coin that sold this one of the big dealers of min-errors on eBay. So this one right here did a good job again with the weight, 4.2 grams. That's a gram and a half lighter than what its original numbers are supposed to be. And then there's a side-by-side of a regular quarter and the one that they're selling. Now they're actually, and honestly, I want to let you guys know that they did add in a regular 1970D quarter in with the mix, so you were getting 2 coins here. That was the previous listing. This one was just for the min-error. $79.25. Again, this one is problem free, whereas the other one looks like it was a roll ender. Next one that we have here, one of the craziest that I've seen in a while. Yeah, I know. There are some people that are just wildly averse to collecting counterfeits, and that's exactly what this one is. However, it's a rare date. I could on the top of my head, I know of about 2 or 3 people that buy these and are looking for some of the rarest dates. 1939 is a white whale in counterfeit collecting. This one right here is just not seen. Weighs in at 5.3 grams. Hitting counterfeits, okay, for those of you that know, these are found in change. I've actually, over the course of the last 2 decades and a half, have found 3 of them. And then they were all when I was working at the casino, because we were still dealing in physical money. And we were, using the counter machine for nickels and things like that. And we, myself found 3 of these out of there. Too bad. The market has really exploded on these. I sold them 15 years ago when I needed the money. This one right here, I don't think I had the 39. I think I had the 1944s and one other one. This one right here, Henning, he has this little calling card, Hallmark, the looped R. Now, not all of them have the looped R, but most of them do have it on pluribus on the reverse. Here's how rare this one is. Someone paid $1,500 for this coin. That's what the realized sale on it is. And guess what? It's worth every penny. Because a regular common date Henning nickel, like a 1944 Silver War nickel, those typically go for about $300 to $400. All right, so one like this, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you would have a 5 times multiplier on the sale of this one. If it was any cheaper than this, it would be a steal. 1972 D Washington quarter, double clips on this one. I know. Kind of cool. Usually anything over one clip is a big deal because planchet clips and things like that are quite common. You could find these in change, believe it or not. Some people to the untrained eye will think that they're tooled or were used as tools. This one sold for $23.90. Here's a nice little 3-pack of 1954 S Lincoln Wheat Cents. Wheat Cents, man, I love hunting through these. A lot to look for. This is a nice 3-pack of, for the most part, nice BU red examples. They're not like world-beating, high-end pieces. But each one of these has the BIE die chip. And these are all different sizes and shapes. So that little die chip between the B and E and Liberty forms what looks to be like a letter I. And that's how it gets its namesake, BIE. So the 3-pack sold for $24.95, roughly about $8 per coin. Huge considering that you could buy each coin for about a quarter, uncertified and unattributed. 1981 D Washington quarter, misaligned dies on this one. You can see how the front of the coin's a little bit off center, but the reverse is perfectly centered and struck. This one sold for $18. Okay, this is kind of a tough date for mid-errors. We don't see 1981s usually on the marketplace. Here's another bulk lot, a count of 5 Lincoln cents, all with clips, straight clips, curved clips, you name it. They're all different dates too. I think that's probably the coolest part about this. You got 62D, 64D, 67, 68D, and an 82D small date. All right, that one looks to be a copper-plated Zinken. All 5 coins sold for $37.68 with 9 bids, roughly making them about $7 per each. Could there be a possibility where we could profit off these? Maybe. Will it be a 2x, a clean 2x multiplier on the profit? That might be a little bit of a stretch, but I would say we could probably make about $20 on these. The long straight clips sell for more money compared to the smaller, shallower, curved deals. So again, that's with 9 bids, $37.68. Pretty cool lot there. And also those old silver coins. Look at this one. Tough date, but you wouldn't know it by the sale price. 1935 S. Peace dollar. Look at the laminations. The attached and detached laminations on the obverse there. Good old Lady Liberty is looking a little rough here on this one. This is cool, but it only managed to sell for $42.55, not 50, $42.55. You could buy this in the scrap bin for around maybe like $28. So didn't make a whole lot of money profit wise, maybe about a $10 bill. But yeah, I wouldn't throw this back. You either keep it or resell it and you'll do okay. Here's one of my favorites, 2000p Sacagawea dollar, Wounded Eagle reverse. This is the FS 901. It is a Cherry Picker's Guide variety. And for those of you that are looking for these actively, you know that you're looking for the raised die gouges right on the wing and breast area of the bird right there. Pretty easy to see. Again, you probably need a magnifier just to make sure that you have what you have. $125 for this one, and it does appear to look like it has been circulated. 1983 Jefferson nickel. This is actually a very common cud die break right on top of Jefferson's head right there. That's not part of the design for sure, so don't make that mistake. Piece of the die cracked, fell off, again for a very weak area on the die. This one realized the $50 bill. So if you don't need it, sell it. The market is fully commanded and fully taken over, and they are in full control over the prices on these. And then the last item on the PCMR, in case you didn't figure it out, man, we had a very deep PCMR today. 1945 P Mercury dime, broad strike, uncentered broad struck, so the collar was not present, and it struck extra wide and crazy on this one. Again, another rarity because it's an obsolete, design. $459 sale. And believe it or not, these are generally in graded holders, but not today. There were a few pieces on today's PCMR that were not in graded holders that maybe should have been. 1873 Indian had sent DDO. That was wild. We'll never see that again in a long time. Keep in mind, guys, information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. Thank you guys again for everything that you do, for your views, your support. Come check me out on Whatnot. We have that QR code. Go ahead and shuffle all the way back, rewind to that screen with the QR code, and let's get rolling, man. We got some pretty amazing stuff in the pipeline to kick off 2025, and I hope to see you guys there. Be there or be square. All right, you guys take care. Have a good one. I will see you on the next coin video. Keep on hunting, my friends.